beneath a leaden sky, where the gnarled heather clings to the rugged expanse of Culloden Moor, time feels like a fragile veil. Nearly 3 centuries have passed since April 16, 1746, when the earth drank the blood of the fallen, yet the air hums with an unshakable presence. Visitors, drawn by history or curiosity, speak in hushed tones of encounters that defy reason, whispers carried on the wind, fleeting glimpses of tartan-clad figures, and the haunting refrain of defeated echoing across the desolate heath. The Battle of Culloden was more than a clash of armies. It was the death knell of a dream. Bonnie Prince Charlie's Jacobite forces, a patchwork of Highland clansmen and desperate idealists, faced the disciplined ranks of the Duke of Cumberland's government army. The Jacobites, fueled by hope for a Stuart restoration, were woefully unprepared, starved, exhausted, and outgunned. In under an hour, the moor became a slaughterhouse. Over 1,500 Highlanders perished, their bodies left to rot in the peat or hastily buried where they fell. The government's victory was merciless, followed by a brutal campaign to crush Highland culture, outlawing tartans, bagpipes, and clan gatherings. The clan stones that now dot the battlefield, etched with names like MacDonald, Fraser, and Cameron, stand as silent sentinels, marking mass graves where dreams and lives were extinguished. Today, Culloden Moor is a National Historic Site, preserved by the National Trust for Scotland. Its visitor centre hums with activity, school groups, historians, and tourists tracing the steps of a lost cause. Yet beyond the manicured paths and interpretive signs, the moor itself feels alive, watchful. Some say it's a doorway to the past that refuses to close, where the anguish of 1746 lingers like a wound that never healed. For generations, tales of the supernatural have woven themselves into Culloden's lore. At dusk, when the light bleeds into a bruised purple and mist coils around the heather, the moor transforms. Locals and visitors alike report sightings of spectral Highlanders, gaunt figures in tattered kilts, their bonnets askew, muskets slung across ghostly shoulders. Their faces, witnesses claim, are etched with sorrow, their eyes hollow with the weight of defeat. Some appear alone, staring across the moor as if searching for comrades long gone. Others march in silent ranks, their footsteps leaving no trace on the damp earth. Nicola Fraser, a local tour guide with deep roots in the Highlands, has spent decades leading visitors across the battlefield. Her voice softens when she recounts her own encounter. It was near the Jacobite lines, just as the sun dipped below the hills. She says, "I was alone, checking the paths before locking up. I heard footsteps behind me, heavy, like boots on wet ground. I turned, expecting a straggler from the tour, but there was nothing. Just the moor, still and empty. Then the air turned cold, sharp as a blade, and I heard it, a man's voice, low and broken, whispering defeated. It wasn't just a word, it was the weight of it, like a lament carried from another time. I froze, my breath catching, and for a fleeting moment, I saw him, a figure in a tattered tartan kilt, his face pale as bone, fading into the fog before I could blink. I've walked this moor 1,000 times, but that moment stays with me, sharp as a dirk. Nicola's story is far from unique. Other visitors describe hearing phantom cries, desperate shouts in Gaelic, the clash of steel, or the ghostly skirl of bagpipes rising from the clan graves. One American tourist, Sarah Whitaker, visited in 2023 and shared her experience on a travel blog. I was taking photos near the Fraser Stone when my camera just stopped working. The battery was full, but it wouldn't turn on. Then I heard what sounded like a drum, faint but steady, coming from the direction of the government lines. There was no reenactment that day. I felt this overwhelming sadness, like I was intruding on something private. I left in tears, and my camera worked fine as soon as I reached the parking lot. Dog walkers report their pets behaving strangely, refusing to cross certain paths or whining inexplicably near the Well of the Dead, where a spring marks the spot where many Highlanders fell. Some claim to have felt sudden, inexplicable chills or pressure on their chests, as if the air itself were heavy with grief. A few bold souls who've lingered after dark swear they've seen faint lights flickering across the moor, will-o'-wisps, or the glint of spectral bayonets, depending on who's telling the tale. Dr. Elspeth Bain, a parapsychologist based in Edinburgh, has studied Culloden's phenomena for over a decade. She describes the moor as a residual haunt, a place where intense emotion has left an imprint on the landscape. Think of it like a recording, she explains. The trauma of Culloden, the fear, the rage, the despair, was so profound that it embedded itself in the environment. These aren't necessarily conscious spirits, but echoes of a moment too powerful to fade. The moor is a tapestry of sorrow, and some people, especially those sensitive to such things, can pick up on it. Bain points to the unique geology of the moor, its peat bogs and quartz-rich soil, as a possible amplifier. Quartz is known to hold energy, almost like a battery, she says. Combine that with the sheer scale of human suffering here, and you've got a recipe for something extraordinary. She's catalogued dozens of accounts, from auditory phenomena to physical sensations, and even conducted experiments with electromagnetic field detectors, noting unusual spikes near the clan stones. It's not about proving ghosts exist, she adds. It's about understanding how places like Culloden can hold on to their past so fiercely. The National Trust for Scotland, while cautious about endorsing supernatural claims, acknowledges the site's eerie reputation. Their guides are trained to focus on historical accuracy, recounting the battle's brutal details and its aftermath, the systematic destruction of Highland culture under Cumberland's orders. Yet even they encourage visitors to tread lightly. The moor demands respect, says Fiona MacLeod, a senior ranger. We've had people break down weeping for no reason, or feel like they're being watched. Whether it's history or something else, Culloden gets under your skin. Culloden is more than a battlefield. It's a symbol of resilience and loss, a touchstone for Scotland's identity. Each year, on April 16th, clans and descendants gather for a solemn commemoration. Bagpipes wail across the moor, their notes mingling with the wind as wreaths are laid at the clanstones. Prayers are offered in Gaelic and English, and the names of the fallen are read aloud. A roll call that feels like a defiance of time. For many, it's a chance to honor ancestors and reconnect with a heritage that was nearly erased. The ceremony is poignant, but it's the quiet moments that linger. Visitors often describe an uncanny sense of being observed, as if the moor itself is listening. Some leave offerings, sprigs of heather, small stones, or handwritten notes tucked beneath the cairn that marks the battlefield's heart. It feels like they're still here, waiting for someone to remember them, says Ewan Campbell, a descendant of the Campbell clan who attends the annual memorial. You don't have to believe in ghosts to feel it. The past is alive here. For those who walk Culloden's paths, the stories of phantom Highlanders are more than folklore. They're a reminder that history is not a distant thing, confined to dusty books or museum displays. It's etched into the land, carried in the wind, and whispered in the voices of those who fell. The moor is a place of beauty and desolation, where the heather grows thick and the sky feels close enough to touch. But it's also a place of memory, where the line between the living and the lost blurs. Some come to Culloden seeking ghosts, armed with cameras and ghost hunting apps. Others come to pay their respects, to trace their roots, or simply to stand on ground that shaped a nation. Regardless of why they come, few leave unchanged. The moor has a way of speaking to those who listen, a language of sorrow, defiance, and enduring spirit. As night falls and the last visitors depart, the moor settles into silence. But it's never truly quiet. Somewhere in the gloaming, the Highlanders march on, their tartans fading into the mist, their whispers carried on the breeze. Defeated, they murmur, but their presence tells another story, one of a people who, even in death, refuse to be forgotten. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, like, subscribe, and comment below.